species of raptor dubbed guanlong. But this is just the beginning. Underneath guanlong, the scientists find much more. At least 4 more dinosaurs, also captured in 3 dimensions, lay stacked over 3 feet deep.
When we first found this specimen, we really had no idea what we had. We thought we were just collecting a single dinosaur. But we started digging around the specimen, and on the sides of the block, we began to see the remains of yet another specimen, laying underneath the top dinosaur.
The first is another guanlong, a smaller one, perhaps a female, a juvenile. Beneath that, jumbled remains of another dinosaur that they haven't yet been able to identify. And then 2 more new and mysterious creatures. What kind of catastrophe would take down different kinds of dinosaurs? Dr. Eberth analyzes the clues found in the trace elements around the fossils. He may be staring at evidence of a homicide. Make that a dinocide. The skeletal remains suggest that these deaths did not come easy or without desperate struggle. Twisted bodies, broken bones, and grim poses litter the pits.
These animals must have been struggling in the mud. There had to be some kind of movement that churned the mud up.
The most intriguing clue, some sharply dislocated skeletons, seem to point to an unnatural cause of death.
Now here's a classic example of that kind of dislocation in the neck vertebrae. There's a very, very sharp dislocation, more than 90 degrees right here. The only way that that can occur is if some high-impact force is applied.
It looks as though this carnivore had its neck snapped. But how? What creature would have the nerve to break a ravenous raptor's neck? Perhaps they were drought victims. Paleontologists have previously found dino bone beds where herds of plant eaters were piled together, apparently killed by a drought and then washed up in a flood. But if the death pit dinosaurs were flesh eaters, they would have hunted alone or in small packs. And the number of species rules out a catastrophe descending on a single herd.
The fact that we're getting different kinds of theropods is telling us that these animals aren't part of a pack. These animals are not coming to that deposit and being preserved in that deposit together.
There is also something that looks a lot like volcanic ash in this fossilized soil surrounding the dinosaurs. Perhaps it was like Pompeii, but there are skeletons in the pits. So something was at work other than just a volcano. And it wasn't a flood. What killed Guanlong and its unfortunate cohorts in the pits of death? Eberth has a theory. But it's going to take some ingenuity and a lot more knowledge about what these animals were like when they were alive and mobile. First order of business, though, is to find a home for these creatures on the dino family tree. And the scientists may have found a critical missing link. At first glance, as we fly through the branches of the dinosaur tree, no immediate relations to Guanlong seem to pop out. But there are ingenious ways of chasing down genealogies, of finding where the branches lead to. With mounting excitement, the scientists compare Guanlong's well-preserved skull with that of other carnivores down the line. Something immediately jumps out. Those teeth, with a peculiar D shape and serrated edges, they definitely run in the family. And on closer inspection, Guanlong's pelvis has a large ridge in the middle of the main hip bone, also very telling. To the paleontologists, these two traits are enough to jump across almost 100 million years and conclude Guanlong is a tyrannosaur. The tyrannosaurs ended up as gigantic animals at the end of the age of dinosaurs, with large heads, terrifying jaws, and powerful bodies.
They're extraordinarily familiar, of course, because of T-Rex and its charismatic qualities, but they are a group that shares a set of characteristics. The beginnings of the Tyrannosaur tooth design are present even in Guanlong. So something about its feeding was already similar to a T-Rex.
And so Guanlong takes up the mantle of the first of its kind at the trunk of a formidable tree as the earliest known ancestor in the Tyrannosaur family. A missing link from the long-lost Jurassic, Guanlong's line may have given rise to 11 different species of tyrannosaurs, ending up with the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex.